This video podcast is brought to you by McCarter Online.
Did you have a close relationship with guys outside of your brother?
It depends on at what age you found me at. When I was younger, I was born and raised in Liberty City. My grandparents lived in a house that they built right on the border of Liberty City and the projects that I spent most of my time in. And in that little neighborhood, there were boys my age, and we were friends up until around 10 or 11. Because then there was this sort of, let's say we had artistic differences. There was this point where I realized that I was different. Not even that I had an attraction for men, but that I liked things like ballet, and I really wanted to be a ballet dancer. Oh God, I want to be a ballet dancer so bad. To this day, I still want to be a ballet dancer, really badly. If you come to rehearsal, you'll see me like at every break trying on, like I'll put my point shoes on and just, I would actually do them in my Converse. I'll dance on point in the middle of rehearsal, and Robert O'Hara and Tina Yellen. But I really wanted to be a dancer, really badly. And I just remember telling my best friend is literally 3 days older than me. So we'd grown basically, and we knew each other before we knew life. We knew each other, but like we can't remember when we met because obviously we were born right next door to each other. So since 3 we had been friends, or before then. And I remember I was about 11 or 12, and I said, I think I want to be a dancer. And he said, "You're a faggot." He said, "You know that? You're a faggot." And I was like, "Oh, I guess that's what I am." Okay, and then we never spoke to each other again. And his father died, and I remember I went to the funeral, and I didn't say anything to him then. I just paid my respects and nodded to him, he nodded to me, and I left, and then his brother got incarcerated. And I remember like, basically we would say sort of like, "Oh yeah, I know that this happened in your family. My mother died," and he sort of paid his respects and nodded his head, but we still to this day haven't spoken to each other. Literally, we're 3 days apart. And something about that always hurt, but also felt necessary. Because I remember thinking to myself, I thought we were inseparable. And then when that separation happened, didn't feel like we were separate, it's just that part of us could never speak again. So I had a lot of friends until this whole gay thing happened, and then I just sort of lost them in some. No, I had some friends, and then middle school happens to all of us. We start to smell funny. You know, everybody recognizes they smell funny and they feel weird and different, and then they start. And when you smell funny, you start to pick on other people who smell funny. You smell funnier than I do. So, and I think at a certain point, at least when I recount middle school to most people, I always say, I think every kid who turns that age should be made to go hike on the Alps by themselves. Because it's such a point of like self-discovery, and the minute you're around other people, you start to feel insecure about this self-discovery. You have no idea what's going on. You've got these feelings, you've got these thoughts, and everybody does. Gay kids, straight kids, black kids, white kids, everybody does. And what we do as a community is we smash them into this group and we say, take tests, figure things out, and get it right. And it's at this point where you should be going, it's all right. Calm down. In about 2 years, that hair growing there won't mean much. Or compare that to the hair that'll be growing when you're 60. You know what I mean? It's just like there's tons of things to worry about. These are not they. And so in a community that had been devastated by riots and the discovery and onslaught of crack cocaine on American streets, there was no way to sort of balance out trying to become a kid, go through that process of being a kid going into a man, or going into an adult in a world that was so savage and fast and quick. And the drug dealers when I was a kid were grown men, literally grown men, meaning they were 30, 40 years old. When I got to that age, when I became 14 or 15, the drug dealers were 2 years older than me. So not to say that I praise the drug dealers, but there was a shift that happened, and the lifespan of black men sort of shrunk. So you had to be a man really early, and I was still walking around talking about point shoes. So, you know, the people in my neighborhood didn't get it. They didn't understand why I was off in this other la-la land, and they were, you know, trying to either live day to day or figure out the next way to overcome.
This podcast has been brought to you by McCarter Theater in Princeton, New Jersey. For tickets, call 609-258-ARTS or visit www.mccarter.org.